Welcome back. Greg Huff here again, and I know you owners and managers as well as salespeople are familiar with Road to the Sale. However, Road to the Promise Price is a little bit different, and so I'm going to try to cover this information as quickly but as succinctly as I can so you can get the gist of what may be a little different than what you're used to. So first is your meet and greet. We all know, hi, Miss Sally, I'm Greg, and what brings you into Greg Huff Dealers today? It's important to break the ice, make them feel welcome, and bring them in. And then to talk about their needs. What are they looking for? Are they looking for a sedan, an SUV, a truck? We need to know what brings them in. Saying they want a car, that's a huge thing. We need to chunk it down to what we can manage so we can help them find what they are looking for. Number 3 is where we really change things, though, and bring in this dynamic of promise price, of one price. Tell them, Miss Sally, here at Greg Huff Motors, we are a promise price dealer. What that means to you is we give you our best price up front. I'm a non-commissioned salesman. So you know that we give you the best deal we can and give everybody the best deal we can. We use Kelley Blue Book, NADA, Carfax, and the market value of these vehicles to price them at a deal that's a good deal for you and makes a little bit of profit for us. So that way you don't have to haggle and go back and forth. So that way you don't have to beat me to death to get the best price, and I'm not trying to beat you to death to try to get me more money. We're on the same team, and I'm just trying to help you get a good deal. So whether you decide to finance with us today or you write us a check, we're going to give you the same great price with all the out-the-door numbers that you require. You see the difference and how powerful that is? It's going to make a big difference in the way you communicate and work with your customers. Number 4, you're going to show them either 1, 2, or 3 vehicles that match their needs. If you can, sometimes they say they want to find a red Jeep Wrangler with 2 doors, and you've got that red Jeep Wrangler with 2 doors, then show them the car. Sometimes a customer wants what we call a unicorn. They want you to find a 1985 Opel. You know, I joke about an Opel, but my point is sometimes customers want a very difficult car. So you try to find out of their needs, you find 4 out of 5 or, maybe 3 out of 5 of the needs. And you show them 2 to 3 cars that meet those needs. But it's up to you as the salesman. You don't want to overwhelm them and show them 30 cars on the lot because it doesn't help you or them. But you try to show them that 1 or 2 or 3 that meet the needs. Number 5, fillet the car. So John Tracy, thanks a lot for helping with this, and I owe you one. But open the doors, the hood, the trunk. Then pick 3 features. Every manufacturer I know, Volkswagen, Subaru, Ram, they all have features that are unique to the brand. So make sure to point those out because that will be what wows the customer when you show them those unique features that make your brand special. Number 6, the test drive. Make sure, whether you go on the test drive or not, make sure they touch the car. Make sure they drive it. Make sure they feel the car. It's important because a customer may say they came in and they say they want a Crosstrek, but I've had customers come in wanting one car, like a Crosstrek, and leave in an Outback. So sometimes that driving makes a difference. They may come in wanting wow, I've been selling Subarus a long time, so they may come in wanting an Accord, and they leave in a Pilot. It's important for you to know your brand well enough to know when customers start giving you criteria that you know your brand well enough to know that the criteria they're giving you may not fit their preconceived notions of what the car they are going to drive is. Number 7, the trial close. Mr. Customer, how was the drive? Oh, it's fantastic. Mr. Customer, since the drive was fantastic, if everything else pans out, your payment and everything else, are you willing to take this car home with you today? That might be an example of a trial close. In a promise price store, you would also likely to be saying, Mr. Customer, you already know the out-the-door numbers. You already know the sales price of the car. So is this a car that you want to take home with you today? So both of those would be examples of trial closes. It's important to gain what we would call a temperature check, to know here is exactly where you are with this customer. The write-up. Now this is extremely important. I'm passionate about several portions of the road to the promise price sale. This is one of them. You give them a write-up, whether they buy the car or not. You take them and sit them down. If they've already made it to let you know they're skittish and they're going to drive away the moment they get back because they're not buying today, have the write-up ready, but you give them one. That will make all the difference, and here's why. Every other dealership out there, just about, is not going to give them a write-up. Because why? Because they're afraid. Because, oh, they might go shop us. Doesn't matter. Oh, they might get a better price at the dealer down the road. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you gave them the best experience possible. You gave them your best price up front, which included the sales price, tax, title, license, and your documentation fee, and it shows in black and white your out-the-door price, and maybe a list of financing options. But the customer now knows this is everything. Now when they go to XY dealer down the street, they're going to be able to say, this is what Greg Huff Dealers gave me. What can you do? And yes, they may shop you, but I want to give you a testimonial. And no, not every customer has done this with me, but this one always stands out the most to me. I had a customer come in, drove the car. He went down to my competition, came back and bought from me. And this is what he said. He said, quote, Greg, the other dealer gave me $800 more for my trade and gave me $200 more off the sales price of the car I wanted to buy. But I came back to buy from you because they were playing games, did not want to show me the out-the-door numbers, and did not offer me the financing that you did up front. Close quote. Isn't that powerful? Isn't that huge? That's the power of Promise Price. That's what makes the difference. And yes, I have had other examples of people coming back. They didn't give me that testimonial, but people appreciate upfront and transparent pricing. That's why a write-up's important. That's why the one price explanation at the beginning is important, because you don't want to just slap them in the face with Promise Price when they get back from a drive. You want to tell them upfront, here's what I'm going to do while you're gone. Here's the Promise Price when they get back. So whether they buy the car or not that moment, they know this is what to expect. 9, the trade appraisal. Now, some customers will let you do the trade appraisal while they're gone on a drive, which is what I do now, especially during COVID, but COVID is not going to always be around. When you watch this video, maybe 5 or 6 years from now, you might not even know what COVID is. My point is that the trade appraisal can be done at any point in the process. What I will say about a trade appraisal is always give them a fair, upfront, market-valued price. Don't try to undercut the trade. Customers are not dumb. And if we don't start treating them that way, they are not going to start treating us as honest, upfront individuals. And that's part of what Promise Price is doing to change that. That's why I want every dealer to be a Promise Price dealer. I believe there's enough customers and enough profit and opportunity to go around. But it's part of us changing our mentality to treating customers as we should, which is the Promise Price way. 10, close. Mr. Customer, will you buy this car? It's up to you to train your salesman when they say no to do a little better. And if they still say no, to give them the write-up, wish them a nice day, and then to follow up. If they say yes, fill out the paperwork properly and completely. It is not the job of everybody else in the dealership to call and get an account number, the 10-day payoff, and the per diem for every single payoff on a trade. That's the salesman's job. And it's our job as owners and managers to make sure salesmen know that. And yes, that includes the 80-year-old salesman and the 8-day-old salesman. We need to teach our salespeople to do and fill out their paperwork properly. The next step I've added in, and it's an important part of being a Promise Price dealer, it's the introduction of the Business Manager and back-end products. Some of you may be thinking that by doing Promise Price, you're getting rid of the financial products. It's not the case. We still need strong F&I managers, but the salesman should be introducing back-end products at an earlier point in the process and should also be handing off warmly to the F&I managers. There's so much to do in the F&I office that the F&I managers need to handle, like calling the banks and making sure deals get funded. But at the same time, a salesperson has that relationship of trust. After spending an hour selling the car and filling out paperwork, telling a customer that is buying a certified pre-owned vehicle that they should buy the certified wrap product for 7 years, 100,000 miles is critical. It's critical. Customers may not buy it, But if they don't, we both know that if they come in at 70,000 miles with a broken computer module or heaven forbid a broken transmission and they got to pay $4,000 where they could have paid $100, they're going to want to eat us alive. And that will cost us customers. It will cost us customer satisfaction, where we could have saved both and the customer thousands of dollars. So let's try to save those relationships up front. 13, deliver the car. If you don't have a delivery expert, then the salesman's going to be doing that. Make sure you walk them around. These cars are more complicated than computers these days. You can start and stop and unlock and lock the car from your cell phones. So it's important that the customer knows how to use these. We have customers that are sometimes a little bit older that buy these cars, and they're like, oh, I just want something that goes. And at least the brake and the gas pedal haven't changed in most cars, but it's important that we show them how to use the features in their car. Lastly, follow up. If you've promised to put a hitch on the car, then make sure that the service department calls and gets them set up to put the hitch in the car. If they wanted a wrap with flames on the side, make sure they call and put the flames on the side. These steps will make you more successful. So in summary, meet and greet, needs analysis, hasn't changed, the same things. Number 3, one price explanation. Make sure they understand what promise price is, why it makes a difference, and how it will change their experience. Number 4, show them the 1, 2, or 3 cars that meet their needs. Number 5, fillet the car. Show them those 1, 2, or 3 features that are unique to your brand. Test drive the car. Number 7, trial close. Ask them if they're going to be buying this car today. Then give them the write-up. Make the difference. Be different than everybody else. Number 9, make sure the trade appraisal's been done if it hasn't already been taken care of. Number 10, close the deal. Ask them to buy. Number 11, fill out the paperwork completely and properly, and then introduce them. Number 12, to the business manager, and introduce back-end products as that is acceptable in your dealership. Number 13, deliver the car. Show them how it works. And number 14, follow up with the customer. Make sure they know that you're important. And I would add, every 3 or 4 months, I, for instance, put together a newsletter that I send out to every customer I have ever sold a car to let them know just how my family's doing, what's going on with their brand of car, and to let them know I care. They may never buy another car from me, but I want them to know that they're important to me. As you follow the road to the promised price, you're not only going to sell more cars, customers will be happier, you will be happier with the way you do business, and your dealership will be happier as well.